In response to this week's Torah portion, our sages ask, what does it mean to count? In this week's portion, Ki Tisa, God instructs Moses regarding the administration of the census, or a formal counting of the Israelite people for the purposes of military conscription and taxation. Rather than a simple head count of all of the Israelite men over the age of 20 years old, those who were to be included in the census, Moses is instructed to collect a half-shekel tax from each of them, which we learn was to be put towards the building and the ongoing maintenance of the tabernacle. As Rashi interprets, it's this half-shekel tax that was to be used to ascertain their numbers. In addition to Shabbat Ki Tisa, this evening begins Refugee Shabbat, an opportunity not just for us here at NSCI, but for the international Jewish community to reflect together on the global refugee crisis and lift up our collective work to resettle and care for some of the world's most marginalized people. Let's reflect for a moment on their numbers. According to a recent report by the UN High Commission on Refugees, there are now estimated to be more than 80 million individuals worldwide, of which 30 million are children under the age of 18 who have been forcibly displaced due to persecution and violence. 26.5 million of these people are refugees. Most of the remainder are internally displaced, meaning they've had to flee their homes, but they haven't yet crossed an international border. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs warns it's dangerous to discuss only the numbers, as any total tends to value the group as a whole. Counting devalues the individual and tends to make him or her replaceable. Rather, Jewish tradition teaches that each and every person is created in the divine image. Every person matters. Consequently, when we consider how to integrate refugees, asylum seekers, and other forcibly displaced people into our communities, it can be easy to look at them as a monolith of 80 million. But we should resist falling into that trap. Instead, we should remember that 80 million is made up of 1 plus 1 plus 1 and on and on. Just as the contribution of half a shekel by each Israelite made up the total sum of money collected for the tabernacle, in reflecting on the global refugee crisis, each of these 80 million displaced people is a human being who should be respected as an individual and whose contributions to society should be celebrated. Along with Jews all around the world, we take the opportunity this Shabbat to lift up this important teaching, as well as to reflect on the work we at NSCI are doing to help empower international refugees through our participation in the Chicago Jewish Coalition for Refugees, and our local efforts to assist individual refugee families through 17, NSCI's Refugee Resettlement Project. For 2 consecutive years, NSCI has partnered with Refugee One to help resettle a refugee family here in Chicago, and we're grateful for the opportunity again this year to work with Refugee One to settle another family very soon. This community mitzvah project has been so successful thanks to you, the many who have contributed money, in-kind donations, and time to this work. It's my honor to share this sermon with our 17 task force, Andy Apsler, Michelle Gorski, Jenny Quinn, and Ann Weisberg. They'll each reflect on their own personal reasons for participating in this project and a few takeaways from their experience.
My heart has been crushed by the amount of hate in this world. I was asked to get involved and I thought I could provide value, so that's why I got involved.
I was eager to help coordinate the refugee project because I've always been so fortunate that I've had family and friends and a great support system, and I was eager to help be that support system for others.
It's been a wonderful experience for me. It's really given me an opportunity to work hands-on with the families. And for that, I have truly enjoyed and seen the difference that I can make in the lives of the refugee families. Even if it's like a small thing that doesn't require a special skill or talent, being kind to someone, being open and accepting, helping set up an apartment, taking a family grocery shopping. These are just such small things, and yet you really see like the impact that it makes on the family.
And it really comes down to giving. basic giving. To me, giving is the greatest thing in the world. It's the greatest feeling, and it's really like a natural high. And I know that probably sounds a little bit corny, but I believe a lot of people would probably agree with me on that. When this particular opportunity came about, I was going through a difficult period in my life, and I realized this was an opportunity to help serve others while also providing comfort to me and providing meaning.
Working with not only our NSCI 17 team, but also the greater congregation, Refugee One, and in particular, Rabbi Daniels has been inspiring. I feel closer to the temple. I've learned to appreciate even further where we come from, where we are, and what we hope to accomplish in the future. I'm really, really honored.
Another reason why I really gravitated towards this project was because so many congregants embrace the project, and it's given me an opportunity to really spend time and meet other congregants who are like-minded, willing to roll up their sleeves and get to work. And it just feels really good to be part of it.
Concerning the half-shekel tax, this week's Torah portion also reminds us that each person's contribution to the communal project matters, as no one person's offering is complete on its own. Rather, everyone's contributions together are essential. In turn, teaches one of my colleagues, the success of our societies is based on the sum participation of individual members. Every little bit of help counts.
You know, one thing that really sticks with me to this day, it's very vivid. We were in NSCI, and it was when we were talking about resettling the first family, and we had a representative from Refugee One in the office, and they were asking us how long we thought that the average family was in a refugee camp, and our guesses were, 1 year, 3 years, whatever our guesses were, and when we were told that the average is 17 years, it was absolutely stunning to me, like a stomach punch. It really took me a moment to grasp the enormity of that number and the struggle that these families face. We can never truly understand the hardships that these families endure.
The one thing I really learned from this project to me was gratitude. It was our volunteers were so grateful for the opportunity to reach out and help others, to teach their children. It really is a win-win for everyone.
It's hard to pin down one thing that remains in my mind about this project, but I have learned a few things. Number one, people are people. Communication is definitely not always the spoken word, and I am so blessed to be involved with this team and working together with our congregation. I'm really proud of what we've done.
One thing that I've learned being part of this refugee project is it's really important to be flexible. Nothing ever goes as planned in the timeline that you expect it to go. And so you just kind of have to let go of any preconceived notions of how things have to be, and be flexible and kind of be willing to just go with the flow.
In the past, we've had about 20 or so volunteers that all congregate on the same day. They come down to the apartment, and we scrub and we wash windows, and we put down shelf paper and make the beds and stock the pantry with groceries. But obviously during COVID this year, we couldn't do it that way. So we instead created slots, and one family at a time would come down. And I really was concerned about that, but the reality was it actually enhanced cooperation and connection. We had to meet to pass the key over to the next group. People took more initiative. We actually had new leaders that emerged, and actually some folks went back and they were like, I think this teddy bear would be great on this little girl's bed, or let me go back the next day and build some shelves. There really isn't enough storage in the kitchen. It was really pretty awesome.
I remember going to the apartment for the first family we helped resettle that we sponsored. And I believe my wife and kids, we were maybe the second or third family to go to the apartment. And we went to the apartment. I was nervous. We were all a little nervous, and I mean my whole family. We really didn't know what to expect. We only had talked to, gotten some notes from a few other people that had visited before us. We went there and I quickly realized that in a lot of ways, they're just like us. I mean, I haven't gone through the struggles that they have. I mean, we all have our own problems. We all have our own struggles and issues. Not to compare one family to the next, but I would say that the family that we resettled has gone through more than anything I can ever imagine. But once you get there and spend some time with them, they're, in many ways, they're just like us. We played card games and the smiles and the laughs from learning a new game. We baked chocolate chip cookies with them, and, the looks on their faces when they're eating a warm chocolate chip cookie. It's just like us.
On one of my visits to Rogers Park, when I was working with a family, I had a very specific agenda of what we were going to do on that mentor visit. And we were going to go to the park and play some ball, kind of explore the neighborhood, or go to Devon and go grocery shopping. But when I got there, the family really wanted to just stay home. And the previous 3 mentor visits also, the mentors had said that the family wanted to stay home. And I was just curious about that, because I would have thought that they wanted to go out and go exploring. And what I realize is that, you really have to show up at these mentor visits and just be flexible and open to what the family needs and wants. And, maybe this is the first time in a long, long time that they've had a lovely apartment just to sit and visit with people. And so that's what they enjoy doing. And so it's just important to maintain flexibility.
One specific memory that stands out for me is going with Jenny Quinn and taking our Rohingyan family to get winter clothes. They were not familiar with winter at all and landed in Chicago during a freezing time. The teenagers insisted they did not need boots, and we were insisting they did, and coats. And it's really a cultural experience, and being able to communicate and share wisdom, but also learn from them.
The one important thing that I'd love for the larger NSCI community to know about is how many fabulous Tikkun Olam projects that we have. This is just one opportunity that we can really put our Jewish beliefs into practice. And I think that's feels so good for people to learn about how our ancient text becomes so real in doing these things. And families get involved, our congregants get involved, but more importantly, families get involved, and they're able to show their children that the world is so much bigger than the North Shore, and how we can get out and practice kindness and compassion.
During the pandemic, it is so easy to isolate yourselves, hibernate, not be part of the congregation, and not be part of the outside world. And what I have found is when we introduced this project that we were sponsoring another family, the congregation has embraced this project wholeheartedly and with great care and love and generosity.
On behalf of this group, as well as all of our clergy, staff, and lay leaders, I want to thank everyone who has already participated in 17, NSCI's Refugee Resettlement Project, everyone who has stepped up to be counted. Your efforts count. You matter. I invite everyone to visit our website, nsci.org/17, for regular updates and opportunities to get involved in our local resettlement efforts, as well as opportunities through the Chicago Jewish Coalition for Refugees to learn and to advocate on behalf of the tens of millions of refugees living in limbo around the world. This work is humbling, deeply meaningful, and an opportunity to strengthen connections among our community members, as well as our congregation's relationships with synagogues and organizations all around the world, all engaged in similar work. With gratitude and an eagerness to continue pursuing justice and kindness for all, I wish you and your family blessings and peace